Today, I'm going to teach you how to pass the BS filters of recruiters, hiring managers, and technical interviewers. I will go into details on what to do before, during, and after the interview process so you can sell yourself better, have the winning mindset, and land a top-notch job. I used this exact strategic framing to get a higher paid job than my own technical mentor, who is obviously way better than me technically. Let's jump in.
Selling yourself is an art of itself, and interviews are just a game. You have to play it how they want it to be played, and if it doesn't align with that, sadly, you will most probably get filtered out. So companies lie too. So why can't you, right? Your livelihood honestly depends on it. And companies, they literally have layoff quotas. Big companies like Amazon, Google, etc., they have to lay off people twice a year because they just have to meet the stock prices and they have to please investors, essentially. And on top of that, nobody's giving you feedback before, during, or after the interview. They don't really want to bother with you. Every time before an interview, research the company, product values, etc. Prepare your pitch, questions, and salary range. Ideally, like 15% on top of what you're currently making. Remember their details for later, so you can use it and sprinkle it out. So here is what you can do for your resume and LinkedIn. If they don't understand that you're the right fit in the 5 to 10 seconds, you get filtered out. So you just have seconds, to please them. Companies have unrealistic standards. You must fill them up. So apply just pretty much everywhere. Whether you are somebody with 2 years of experience, you can basically apply to senior roles. But honestly, like, the networking route is much better, but I'm not going to get into detail. Don't have any job gaps whatsoever. Honestly, they don't really care if you were laid off, if there was budget cuts, if you had anything related to family, medical emergencies, whatever. The reason is that you didn't have a job for that amount of time. They don't care. Career breaks, just remove them. Just tell them that you are working in the same place that you were working beforehand. That can seem a bit radical, but that's just how it is. I just got off a client call and the screening went well. They were pretty happy. Yeah, we were just scheduled the interview. One day after that, a rejection, no feedback. And I looked at his profile. He still had his freelancing work there. And sometimes even contracting can be viewed as bad experience. I don't even know why. Contracting is like totally normal. It's even benefiting them to not have people like that, and they can just let them go wherever they want. You're paying your own taxes essentially, so they're not paying more or whatever. No mismatching titles. Feel free to include all common titles to hit multiple keywords. If you're applying, for example, for data science roles, just have data science titles there. Even if you are doing like multiple roles in a single job, just have everything related to the title that you're willing to go for. And if you're applying for multiple titles, then that's a problem because you're not very specialized. Again, include all the relevant tech for the role. So anything that's listed there and you can learn in 2 weeks, put it there. It doesn't matter. If you know Vue and don't know React, just put React as well. If you are going for only React roles. If you're going for Vue roles, don't do that, obviously. And include quantifiable results, even if they're like BS. Recruiters and AI goes crazy for numbers on your resume. As for like the mindset, it's a matching game. So go and find your perfect match. Like, think of it just like Tinder. Bad companies will always want to hire you for less than the market, even if you're the best. So expect negotiations. Search for companies that value high-end talent and fight for it. If it doesn't work out with one company, just try the next one. It's number games. Just don't get discouraged. Ideally, you would want to always look for new opportunities. Job security is not real. We see it over and over and over and over again. Companies are laying off people during COVID. Companies are laying people every year, even 2 times. That doesn't have to do with the market. That doesn't have to do with anything. It's just, that's how it goes. Always look out for new opportunities. But, oh, Alex, what if I'm happy or whatever? Next thing you know, you're getting let go and you got to pay bills. You got to pay rent. Just always be on the lookout. If you're not getting offers, then I would assume you're not bringing enough value and you're not selling yourself effectively, which is what we're going to do now. But just before we do that, I currently actually have 5 more spots open to work one-on-one with me and my technical mentor to get a fulfilling tech job in the next 3 months. If you're curious, there's going to be a link to apply in the comments or like the description, whatever. First come, first served. We cancel over 50% of applicants. So please, if you are going to apply, be serious about it. So here is what you guys have to do during the interview. The general stuff would be to master the interview process, and you won't be without work ever. That's kind of why you should do that. You should always give a positive energy, be nice, be humble, likable, and be energetic. Keep it casual, smile, laugh, joke, listen, and acknowledge to what they say. Just match their energy. Avoid controversial topics. If you go into politics, if you don't agree with them, they might not like you that much. And if they ask you, stuff like how are you? You should always be great and positive. Doesn't matter if you lost a relative or something, you should always be great. And people generally don't care how you feel. The moment you walk into the interview begins, even with the how are you question. Again, it makes sense, but people that resonate with you more will open more doors for you. So try to find similar stuff between each other, mutual friends, mutual interest, maybe even something quirky. That's why I'm so keen on networking and getting referrals, because it absolutely works. It's a human psychology thing that we just tend to trust people that we know. Stranger danger exists for a reason. For you to, if you don't build enough authority, if they don't believe that you can do the job, you're just never going to get hired. So be confident in your answers, but don't pretend you know everything. Don't try to guess and so on. I have a whole video of that. You can just watch my top 30 interview questions to get more detail on that. Again, if the interview is online, just clean out the room, be in a quiet space, turn on your camera, just the basic stuff. But I feel like people miss it, especially like the camera. Today you can buy a camera for like $10. You can sell yourself so much better by just turning on your camera. A clear room in a quiet space. And if the interview is online, of course, like wear some good clothes. Even in front of the camera, wear some good clothes. You don't need to be too official, but extra effort goes a long way. I feel like that's obvious, but yet most people, they just don't start there. And of course, have questions prepared that you cannot Google. What is the expectations for this role? Something specific about their product that you Googled beforehand. All of it just works really, really well. If you want to know how I handle most of the questions in the interviews, it includes, again, behavioral and technical questions. So during the HR and hiring manager rounds, include details from your search where possible. Common honesty doesn't work here, and you probably get filtered out. So honesty around anything that's not about why you are the fit and why you can do the job, or any objections that you might have around the job. Don't give them any objections, but if you do, address them right away. They're being dishonest from the moment you walk in there. They don't give you any feedback. They will do anything just to keep the business afloat, which is understandable, but the way they do it is not humane. Don't say if you are currently unemployed. There will be more questions and possible judgment. Rather than that, say that you're just looking for a new place, that you want to grow, and you want more responsibility, you want more ownership. You felt like you kind of outgrown your environment. They don't give you any questions because that's what they expect. They are literally like a form, and if you don't say these exact words, you're not going to pass the form. And anything that you might say in this space can filter you out, even if you can do the job really, really well. Again, always keep the positive tone. They don't want to hear you complain, especially about your past employer or your past team, past boss. Just say that you are friendly with them. Say that you loved working beside them. Say that they were amazing. Don't talk about money unless you're being prompted to, unless they ask you the specific salary expectations, whatever. They will, because this is one of their filters. If you say something that's too high, they will filter you out. If you say something that's too low, they will filter you out. So you kind of have to give them a range and go from there. And that range ideally should be more than you're earning right now. And if they ask you how much are you making right now, just tell them your salary plus 10-15%. And you know why? Because they actually hire people for less than what they're willing to give. And they do that because they want to de-risk themselves. And from a business standpoint, it makes a ton of sense, because you want to also 6 months in, 1 year in, you want to give more to people, and that's also already budgeted in, and they just will give you less starting out. But once you kind of prove yourself, they can give you more, but not too much, so be aware of that. But again, we're talking about bad employers. Good companies that value talent will always pay top dollar, and they will always compete for talent, and they will always give more because they know when they give one third more, they will get two, three, four times the performance out of this person. And bad companies just don't realize that, and they end up just churning people all the time, but they will never learn. And also, you see it, all of these like big companies that want to meet the quotas every year just to please investors. They don't know how to run companies because they haven't built companies themselves. They're just some people that are either like they have some skill, but they never really know usually how to build a company from scratch, so they don't really know how to break it. So they do some dumb shit. That's usually when you see it during a restructuring or something. The politics just win, like the bureaucracy wins, but the people that can actually do the work, they get filtered out because they don't want to play the politics most of the time. That's it. Moving into the technical stuff. Of course, the way you sell yourself here is to think and ask questions before you answer tech questions. This will help you be less nervous and give you more time to think. Here we're not going to, just to be transparent, we're not going to go into any technical details. It's just purely how to sell yourselves and how to become better. Essentially, the biggest problem during technical questions is on-time performance. It happens with people with no experience, it happens with people with 20 years of experience. People are just not used to being evaluated on the spot because nobody does interviews all the time, and you kind of have to keep yourself sharp. Even for me right now, if I went to an interview, I would probably perform worse than somebody who is doing actively interviews. That's just how it is. That's the name of the game. But after like 5 to 10 interviews, because I know how to manage myself, I will perform to the standard that I want. This on-time performance can get a lot of people nervous. Here, what I can recommend the most is breathing. Before you walk into the interview, just breathe, and that will give you more clarity. That will kind of ease out the stress, and you will essentially perform better because you think better and you think more clearly, if that makes sense. Also, technical people don't decide how much you make. So in this route, you want to show expertise and appeal to the interviewer so you get ranked higher. Sometimes I feel like the tech leads can know the ranges, but they're not the ones picking whether or not you should get hired or not. You just want that green light from them that you're a cool guy, that you can do the work, you're fun to work with, and they basically see you as part of the team. After they have that, honestly, that's how I was able to even earn more than my technical mentor. Not because I was better technically, they just liked how I presented myself, how I carried myself during interviews, and I was willing to learn something if I didn't know it. That's why you don't fake expertise. Never. You just seem really bad and kind of has the opposite effect. Faking expertise is just a way for you to sell yourself out of a job. People won't rely on you. People won't rely on your judgment. People will basically question if they don't know something and they come to you and you tell them something, they won't trust you. Again, be humble and admit if you don't know anything and ask questions. So that's why during the live coding, it's more about, communicating, explaining what you're doing, asking questions, covering edge cases, discussing trade-offs, everything that makes the other person understand how you think and you letting them in your head. And that can be extremely difficult for some people. If you get into the situation where you are not doing something, you kind of have to explain what's going on, why you're not being able to solve the problem, what is required to solve it, or what you don't know is required. Just being able to communicate freely with people and explain your thought process. That's what they search for here. But Alex, what about the background checks? Well, they do exist. I'm not saying they don't exist. But first of all, most of the people they won't even bother. Sometimes they will require a reference that you can give the number to a friend of yours, or you can just give the references to the old company that you are allegedly still working for. And if the time duration is not that big, doesn't matter. I know some recruiters are checking dates, but if they do that, if they go the extra mile, they're probably not the company. If they're like too aware of like stuff like that, why does it matter to you? If I haven't been working, like I just need a job to pay my bills. Follow-ups are also gold. It's proven by most sales process. Now that I have a business, I really try to study how people do business, and follow-ups are crucial, and I start implementing them in my own system. People just love being reminded, so it's part of like selling yourself. So following up with people, guys, if you don't do it, start doing that. Even if it's like a month, 2 months, 3 months, just follow up, check in with people, see how they are. You never know, something might come up. This will also give you more clarity. You might actually get the feedback that you want as well. They expect negotiations to happen even after the initial offer. This is when this phase comes in. Again, market salaries are predefined. Only exceptional developers actually get the top percentage. So expect what's actually possible for your case. When I earned more than my technical mentor, I pushed what I thought was possible around me. And even though we had other people around us that were even better than my technical mentor, they were still earning less. So I just I just pushed it. And the way I did it is I just asked for more. But people, don't value their work and they're hesitant to even do that. That's why you should look for a job when you don't need it. It's business in the end. Don't take it personally. Everyone should feel like they got a better end of the deal. That's how a deal is made, basically. And if one side doesn't feel satisfied, then the deal will not happen.